So now we shifted to, right, there's a whole body of work of research, and we said, what about this digital world? Is it changing the landscape, gender, and generations? And so we moved forward into another series of research studies. And I'll try to just give you the highlights. We actually did one with 2 research studies all about, the intent was actually women in leadership. And it was interesting because the findings were not just about women in leadership. We had more findings actually on generation than we did on women in leadership. So the 2 studies was a qualitative study, which we sent out surveys across the U.S. to leaders, director level and up in corporations, business owners, franchise owners, both men and women, asking them about modern day leadership skills, characteristics, and attributes, scoring themselves, scoring each other, right, what could we find? We also did a second qualitative study where I actually did all the interviewing of over 200 leaders, women leaders, so that we could kind of cross-reference some of the findings. Well, here's what we found, actually. And when you look at the attributes, these studies have been done already. So we were sort of pulling out studies that have been done on leadership attributes for the modern century in a digital world. Skills, attributes, and characteristics. Interesting enough, what we found was women ranked women highest on all modern day leadership skills, characteristics, right, and attributes. And so we sort of said, oh gosh, if women rank women highest in all these things, that means men are going to rank men all highest, and I'm going to have to throw out the study. But it was interesting is men did not rank men highest on all modern day leadership skills and attributes and characteristics. So we said maybe we're measuring something wrong. Maybe the story today is not about gender anymore, right? Men and women at work. Maybe there's another story in there that we should dig into, and that's what we did. We said, could it be generational now, and could we have more findings in that area? You may be saying, what generation am I? You can be any generation. First of all, you can be any generation you want. I have met 80-year-olds who tell me they're millennials, and I have met 20-year-olds who tell me that they are boomers. But in general, for academic studies, you have to use some sort of parameters that can cut off. So our study actually had 3 generations in the workforce. We had the millennials or Y generation, Generation X, and the boomers. And just to give you a context, it's like the boomers are sort of like age 53, 54 and up, right? The Gen X is somewhere in the 40s to early 50s, right? And the millennials are 30s and under. But just to give you an idea, just look at your birth year in there. Okay. Interesting in what we found, Generation X men and Millennial Y men were pretty much gender agnostic. So what that meant is they went through these surveys, they didn't have these lenses of male-female leadership. It was kind of like a good leader is a good leader, and here are the attributes and characteristics that I want to see in a leader. Very interesting finding, right? However, we found that the boomer men, right, so this is our age 53, 54 and up, did find gender differences in leadership. So now we know where the disparity happened, right? It was in this one segment population, which makes it very interesting all of a sudden because it might answer a lot of questions or things that are going on in the workforce. Why do certain generations have no lenses or biases or whatever, and why do others, right? We don't know. So let's just dig a little deeper about what kind of differences do these boomer men see? And they said, well, women excel at relational skills, communication, mentoring, coaching, empathy, collaboration, inclusiveness. Well, that sounds pretty good, particularly in this industry. Men, however, they said excel at vision, strategy, decisiveness. Women, they said, are actually adept at people skills, where men are confident and risk takers. Well, that's kind of interesting. But then I started to think about quick decision making interpreting it from a boomer point of view, perhaps, versus someone else's point of view or today. And it made me think of this show. I used to watch a lot. It was called 30 Rock. You may or may not remember it. It doesn't matter. I'll give you a little background. It's all about, it's supposed to be about GE, actually. Jack Welch, very hierarchical type of organization, right? And then we have Jack, who is the EVP. And he's very hierarchical, and he tries to mentor Liz Lemon, the aspiring producer who works for him. And he's always giving her quick tips on how to be a successful leader like he is in a very hierarchical world. And he gives her a comment about quick decision-making and how to make quick decision-making, how real leaders do it. And I said, do we really want to make decisions like Jack today? Let's take a look at Jack coaching Liz on how to make a quick decision.